Hello everyone. So I decided to go live. I was going to put together this really long video recap of what's been going on, but I'm like, you know what? Rather than get this overly saturated, overly done version of what I can just tell you right now, I just thought to do it right now. And some people say, oh, that's the lazy route. I'm like, no, because the lazy route is messing up 100 times and then putting it out there for the world to see on a perfect version. Yeah, so I decided that the best thing I could do right now is to explain to you what's been going on. So, those of you that have been sticking with us for the campaign, by the way, this is spoilers for the campaign that we're playing, so if you don't want to watch that, please do not. I won't give away anything terribly interesting, just the brief rundown of what's been going on, so that way you can start up on episode 5 when we start this week, hopefully. Um, yeah, it's been incredible. I've really enjoyed doing it because if you look at this as a whole, this channel wasn't meant to do this. I was planning on doing some video game reviews and I had the Natural One name, so I had some D&D stuff in mind, but it wasn't so much what I was going to do, and that was may have done a let's play. But this has been much better than I could have ever imagined. Even doing songs, because I said I was going to do video game covers, but I don't want to be like all those people that are just doing a cappella of songs, and I just was like, that sounds like grating, nails on a chalkboard idea to me, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I decided to be myself and do this Natural One. So anyway, have anyone watched this? Watch the D&D thing? So we've got about 50 plus people watching the channel, that actual series, up to about 100 depend on the day. But yeah, it's good. It's a new channel, so that's pretty good, especially the watch time. But guys, if you're watching, I'm so glad because I put so much effort into making it. Any DM will tell you the same thing. They take a story and then they revamp it because it wasn't the way they wanted it to work out in the first place. And then they revamp it 6 or 7 more times. They put it out for the players to see, and then the players do something totally different. So hey, so yeah, that's been fun for me because I'm sorry the camera's a little shaky today. I decided can't find well not decided I cannot find my tripod for the life of me. So we're doing steady shaky at the same time. Yeah, so let's recap. So those of you that have not watched it, you can start watching now. So okay, so remember the first episode, that was when they entered into El Jadra. Now, let me explain a little bit about El Jadra. That is a place that is dangerous. That is a place that's full of sand and monsters. Let's say. The monsters are people, though, in this instance, because everyone in there is either affected by the Yuan-ti or Yuan-ti themselves, which, if you know about them in the Monsters Manual, they are terrible. They are one of the worst things ever. They supplant themselves in different societies and they destroy everything within. And so they're a mess. So our main two characters that are there every single time are Wylan and Cry. Now, both of them are Asimar and they're brothers and they're twins, which I thought would be an interesting little twist. I obviously made the characters with the players, but I decided to put my own little twist to it and made them twins, and I kind of led them to the story itself. In the Hello Natural One, yes, DMs certainly have a hard time building worlds, and that's if players stay on track. So true. Doesn't matter what you throw at it, it never is the way you want it to be, but it still is fun. I mean, it makes it better, in my opinion. But I had an interesting time with their time in the slave areas. They kind of just stuck to it. Now, some people say, "Oh, is that what you planned all along?" No, I didn't. I planned for an escape much earlier on, a coup, getting together with a bunch of slaves, starting to escape or something like that. But they stayed. They wanted to fight in the arena, which was like, all right, cool, let's do it. I had some options for them. I'm someone who over prepares, so I had about 5 or 6 different types of uh, arena layouts, I should say. So it was fun when they said they wanted to stay because it was like, all right, cool. I've never done arena. Let's do it. And they kicked butt. If they had died, I would have just let them die, and that would have been that. I would have found a way to resurrect them, but I didn't want to just give them an easy way out and just be like, okay, you win every time because you're the players and I'm the DM. No, I will straight up kill my players if they do something crazy. They've lucked out. In the first couple episodes, they were just in the arena and various situations with Ammonius, the main bad guy. Wasn't supposed to be the main bad guy, but they made him the main bad guy by. I mean, he was a jerk to start with. We'll just start there. But they kind of. What's interesting about players in D&D is Pathfinder, any tabletop, they will find someone that's particularly offensive to them or someone that they don't like and they want to be burned the side of the whole time, and they'll find it whether you planned it or not. So be careful what you put in the way because you better like them because they may stick around a while. Next thing I wanted to talk about was how in episode 2 they fought the Basilisk. Now some people are like, well, how did you figure that out? And I just said, well, I've never seen anyone play a Basilisk before. I've never seen them fight one, I should say. When that happened, I was like, well, I need to do something. And my wife came up with the idea of put reflective surfaces nearby because she's a Harry Potter fan, and that's what happened. But this basilisk is a little different, obviously, because that one's represented as a snake. And basilisks in D&D have, I think it was like 6 legs. Very serpent-like, very dragon-like, but different. Anyway, so I did. I put reflective surfaces and kind of hinted a little bit towards it, if you'll notice in the video. It was fun. It was fun to try to build this environment around them in the arena. That the arena is ever changing was an idea I kind of had. Romans did that, not to the expanse that I did in my arenas, but not far off. If you look, they actually did. I think Emperor Nero had water like battles with ships. So yeah, it wasn't too difficult to come up with some ideas because some things had already been done. Anyway, so they fought the basilisk and. Cry actually died. I should say died. He was in the stomach acid. Some people said, well, he had like almost full health. How come he didn't die? Or how come he died? Well, the reason why he died, he's got turned to stone, and then he fell. He was in the stomach acid when Wyron tried to save him by throwing him into it. That was a hint that he got from their Deva, which actually is a celestial named Azrael. Anyway, so he throws him into the bile and nothing happened, and then he was turning back. The behind the scenes is he was turning back into a normal Aasimar, not stone, because Basilisk bile, which I read, and I don't think it's D&D lore, but why? And some people say, why would a monster turn something into stone? It must be have a hard time eating things. Not so. See, Basilisk stone, the stone that turns people turn into, it's not like a really hard marble or something like it's portrayed in movies often. It's actually like a very porous rock. I think of it much like pumice, if you've ever felt that. It's very light. So when a basilisk takes a bite out of whatever piece of chunk of like stone person that it just petrified, it's not just eating the stone. So it eats the stone of the person, and then they go into the bile, which I heard that the bile turns them back into flesh. So it's like a mechanism for hunting. So when he got thrown into the basilisk bile after Wyron split it from stomach all the way to neck, he was hoping to turn it back into it, and as he turned back into a Aasimar, he was burning in the acid. I had to add the acid damage. Unfortunately, it was like a critical, and it was really bad. He almost died. He would have, but he last second had been given health by his brother, and so he jumped out of the acid, which was like, thank you for finally getting the hint. And he did, and he lived. So that was a kind of a little controversial thing because no one really knew what was going on in episode 2 because they're like, how did he survive that? That's how he survived. So, sandstone sounds like a probable candidate for best petrification. Very positive. I live in the Mojave Desert, edge of the Mojave Desert. We live in a place where there's a lot of red sandstone, so I get that. It's very, like, you could break it with your hand if you really wanted to in certain parts. So, yeah, could be pumice, sandstone, that type. So, yeah, I totally get it. Makes sense. Anyway, episode 3 came along, and if you haven't watched, that's cool, because this will be a good recap. You can just start this next week, or you can catch up. It's a lot of fun. But it's 3.5 hours, so, most of the videos. So unless you have a lot of time, which, everyone says, oh, do it for the views, tell them for the views, but if you don't want to watch it, that's fine. But if you want to start watching episode 5, here's where you catch up. Anyway, episode 3 we introduce the new character Castle, and he's from an island called Jebur, which is Jebur. And if you look on the Patreon, you'll find a link to like a little Word document, Google Docs, I should say, not Word, and it has the whole world and it has the map, and you'll see that Jebur is an island. It's pretty big. It's not large, not like massive or anything, but it's big, and that's where Castle's from. Castle was played by Cameron. He really went into detail when he created his backstory. He's the type of person that will go into like this intense detail, which I love because I like to have a character that's fleshed out. That way, if there's something that comes up in the story later on, you can kind of throw some backstory in there from that person and create, really a difficult decision in the future. Anyway, so he comes in with a prince of, well, the main prince of Jibbar, and also his like bodyguard named Dowd. I borrowed that name Dowd, and he is going to be somewhat similar to the Dowd off of um, for the life of me, I can't remember the name. The game. It's the game Dishonored. You ever played Dishonored? Dowd is a really cool character. Anyway, he's kind of like that. Uh, Mostly in aspect, not so much in like teleportation or any dark magic or anything like that. But they're all very idealistic. Anyway, so they come in and all of a sudden they show up and they watch the whole thing with the basilisk. So they go want to see the city, but realistically, their whole, if you didn't catch that in the episode, they were actually trying to find the weakest point to invade. I don't know if he mentioned that, but that was his whole point. They were going to scout out the area. They also wanted to free some slaves, or at least find a way to free them. It got kind of sped up, though, when Ammonius knew that they were there, which means that they found out that there must be someone back in Jabur that kind of tipped them off. So, I like to add a little bit of a. Because here's the thing, the Yuan-ti, if you study them, like I have, they have people everywhere. A lot of times they'll have people in neighboring cities looking for their weak points. So when someone tries to infiltrate them, it's going to be much harder. So I rolled for that, and they did very well. They already knew that they were on their way. So when they showed up on the shores next to El Jadra, they were picked up immediately by the men of the city, which scared them. But they didn't really know what to do. So they found out that there was a mine exit possible. I think I had like 7 or 8 exits that they could have had to escape El Jadra. They went probably, I don't want to say it's safer because the desert isn't safe, the sea isn't safe, but the Underdark, that's a little bit a little bit different. They ended up after fighting the arena a couple times, they fought the basilisks, so they get freed by them, and it was an escape on both parts. It was like them helping them escape and them escaping themselves. And they meet up and they fight together. They run to Ammonius's house. They steal his ring, which is like a legendary artifact. And I was like, oh, they actually did a perception check and inspected the room and all that fun stuff. Because normally they don't. They won't even search bodies half the time. So I didn't think they would, and they found it, and I was like, oh, good. This thing is a ring it's a telekinesis ring that can lift 1,000 pounds. So you can see how that can be handy in any situation. And they've used it a couple times, so it's been pretty save their butt in episode 4. I'll get to that. But they escaped down this platform, but just as they were escaping, see, they burned down the temple. I mean, not down because it's stone, but they burned much of the temple. Odeon did, who is a person who's been living in their cell, fighting with them in the arena, all that fun stuff. They they don't really know much about him. They know that he's like a faceless priest, meaning like I didn't take my idea from Game of Thrones, and some people said, "Oh, like the faceless man," off of that. And I'm like, no, he's more of a warlock. So if you read in the, I think it's Eldritch Invocations, there's one that says multiple faces, and he can change his face and stuff. So I did that. I thought that was interesting. I thought it'd be fun to do. I also decided to add a trickster god that was similar to that. So instead of having like the fiend or something like that, I added a god that hadn't been made before. He's kind of a trickster god. He shows up here and there. He actually messes with the characters. He's been in like 3 or 4 spots that they haven't noticed. See if you can pick him out in the episodes. But I like to add interesting things that only I know because it drives me, I guess, to make a better episode. Also, I have to mention that he's going to be into it more. He's going to show up more. There's some stuff with Odeon that is a secret to everybody, but to me, he's going to be an interesting character. Um, I'll just give you a hint. He was a priest in the Yonti temple, and priests or anyone that's high up in the Yonti. Let's stop there. Anyway, so he's important. He's not just some guy. None of my NPCs are. They met with him. They did some like tarot card situation with the trickster god, and they all got fortunes kind of read to them. And two of them had a fortune read to them that a powerful demon has their eyes on them and is going to try to attack them. So that is coming up. Alana pulled something. She's a chevalier, kind of knight woman slash smuggler back in the day. She actually inherited some kind of keep, which what she pulled from it, and Jordan's character Cry pulled a card that gave him a big gem, but they don't know whatever happened to it because they got pulled out of prison. Anyway, so they escape down the platform. It drops, and Underdark. I hate the Underdark. I've never wanted to do the Underdark. So when they went down the Underdark, I was a little bit. I prepared for it. I bought. I think it's Into the Abyss or Out of the Abyss. It's a module that D&D has created. I think it was D&D. Pretty sure it was. It's 5e anyway. It is a module that I love. I didn't think I would. It starts you off in a drow prison and then it goes from there. I decided to kind of take elements from that book, so you'll kind of see some similarities there. Definitely buy different books if you're going to DM. Buy lots of different modules because it gives you so many ideas of how to create things for your players. Because it gave me so many ideas, and I didn't know much about the Underdark, but now I do. Anyway, so definitely look into that. But anyway, they go down the Underdark. I should say they're falling into the Underdark after a battle with Ammonius, and he flies away. But he left a big scar on Castle's face. Permanent. I like to add permanency to things. Anyway, at the end of it, really, all that happened was encounters. We had a rough start due to technical issues, but yeah, we ran down this tunnel created by definitely a purple worm. They didn't know that because they're not too familiar with D&D, but there were spiders. There was all sorts of stuff. It was dangerous, but they only had really one encounter with a fight. Most of it was environmental issues, hunger, exhaustion. All the things that can be expected with the Underdark. They didn't roll madness because they didn't eat any mushrooms that had any like a dark taint to them. They found some edible ones, which was pretty much the only ones they could find. And yeah, and then they ended up in the water, which is like an underground lake slash river. And they are at the very beginning of it. I think they made it to the end because they went through a whirlpool and happened to use the ring of telekinesis to throw a pickaxe with a rope attached to it to pull themselves out, which was really close because that would have been bad. And I mean, they got separated from most of the slaves that escaped with them, so they're going to come up later, or some of them will, some of them won't. And really, what happened is that they met some Gith, or Githyanki, or there's a few different types, but the ones they met aren't particularly good. They just said, hey, if you want out of here, we can help you out, but we're gonna have to take all your things. Whatever you gather down here is fine. You can use to your benefit, but the moment you leave, we want everything that you own. It's it seems a pretty fair trade, but the prince at the very end of it said that there's something that he has that he does not want the Gith to have, and he has to have. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. They couldn't go more than about 2 or 3 hours, 2.5 hours that night because we just started so late, but that is a recap of what's going on. Yeah, this is a 19-minute video already. So anyway, I also want to apologize. I know doing streams and live things, I like to do that because I like to discuss with people, and I feel like more people want to comment that way, and I enjoyed it. We had the most people on, and it's growing. It's weird. It's just a bunch of guys playing D&D, but I'm not boasting saying we have a lot. We just have a few. But the few we have, I really appreciate you coming around. I really do. And I'm going to do a song on Wednesday, and then we're going to try to do it Friday. And if we can't do it Friday, then we'll probably try for another day. But again, I'm trying for 3 videos a week. So if you have any song suggestions, I don't really have one picked for this week. So if you have one, please let me know. Also, quick note. I'm kind of starting over with my list. I have a list as of like 8 months ago, and it's so jarbled and mixed up. And I apologize if I haven't got to your song yet and you really wanted me to get to it. I'm gonna throw a bunch of them, all of it, into a new list. It's totally out of order now, so if you've been waiting a long time, please message me. A lot of times, if you message me, I will do it right away rather than doing it like I don't know, never. I'm sorry. I'm one man and I have a baby and a pregnant wife and two, three jobs. I work a lot. So anyway, please let me know. Have some patience with me. I'm doing the best I can. I love DMing. I love D&D, and I love you guys. You guys have been great. We're almost at 50,000 views on the channel, which is incredible. About 430 almost subscribers, which is incredible in and of itself. You guys are fun to hang out with, and I appreciate all your comments and your likes and just the general camaraderie that comes with D&D and coming with tabletop gaming and coming from nerds because we got to stick together because the world's falling apart. So let's make up our own worlds, right? Uh, Take your time. Your songs are awesome. Thank you, Anna. Appreciate that. Also, Anna, if there's a song that you'd like to do, since you just commented, if you have a character that you want to do, um, if you want me to do, maybe a campaign you guys are playing together, or even just a campaign that you enjoy to watch, maybe one online. I watch many. So please let me know in the comments after this live goes up and posted. That way it shows up, because if you post here, I won't be able to see it when it's live. So you win, I guess. So if you can't think of anything, don't no pressure. But if you can, I'd be happy to do them for you. So anyway, thanks guys for watching. You have a fantastic day. Nerds unite and fix this broken world. Exactly. This world kind of sucks. So I like to live in a fantasy world. I have my whole life. So that's why I've turned to Tolkien and Narnia and all the other fun things. So yeah, anyway, we can get into a whole different subject there. So, not political. Have a fantastic day. May your roles always be natural ones, just not natural ones. Goodbye and have a fantastic day. I said that already, but I'll say it again. All right. Bye, guys. Seriously, I'm turning it off now.